I saved an entire building from burning down. You can tell it's gasoline because you see, and there it goes. Now he's begging for his life. I'm making this video not because I want to be recognized as a hero. I'm making the video, the building, and my issues with county inspectors and how they pick and choose what laws and what code they're going to abide by, who they're going to allow to do whatever they want on their own property. I saved an entire building from burning down, put the fire out, and I got it away from the building. I chased him down the road. I beat the crap out of him, and then I made him carry me back to see where I have him at the end when I hold him while we were waiting for police to arrive. So let's get into it and show you who I am. So you can see he comes into frame here, and he's looking around, he's checking on cars. But if you look closely, there's a gas tank in his hand. So with this building, this is my beef with county officials. There's bars on all the windows. There's only one door in. Now, the bars did have an opening, but they had padlocks on those openings. Not one person in that building had the keys to those padlocks. But the county wants to tell me what I can and cannot do on my land, on my property. Okay, let's check this guy out. So, gas tank in hand. So I don't understand what his motives were, except that he must have been upset that he couldn't break into a car, or he couldn't get into a car. Something inside me told me something's going to happen. Didn't know what. So here he is, he's pouring out the gas on the doormat, and it's, as you can tell, it's a lot of gas. I don't know if he poured out the whole tank, but if you ever lit gas on fire, and if it's that amount of gas, it does not go out fast. It will continue to consume. Well, you soak up a doormat with gasoline, it's going to last a long time, and gasoline burns hot. And you can tell it's gasoline because you see, and there it goes. I paused it there because look how he looked back. Clearly this is an arsonist. He enjoys what he does. He wanted to take it in, and you can see he keeps looking back. This is what I saw through the curtains of my window. So I throw my phone down, and I'm thinking I have to go take care of this fire. So I pushed the mat. I knew I was gonna get burned, but I had to grab the mat and grabbed it by the corner and pushed it out of the way just enough to wake up my neighbor, because there's 2 infants in that unit and a grandmother, and she was able to see all of this when I rang the doorbell. So she's the one that called police, because I knew that she had a ring doorbell. So I rang the doorbell, and then I started banging on the door enough to wake them up. And then from here, I look at the fire, and I'm like, I gotta get this away from the building. So I grab it again, and I pulled it out to the middle of the driveway. I look back, I see the building's not on fire, or at least it's dying down, and then I'm thinking, it's on. I put on the afterburners. Just before, I was probably about 10 feet away, and I was less than a second away. I was coming in hot. As I stand, I'm 200 pounds. I came in full steam. I remember him looking back and his eyes getting real big, and I hit him with everything that I had. I hit him so hard, he went flying, I went flying, but I saw the bottom of his feet. I put him completely horizontal. He rolled, I rolled, and when I stood up, he stood right up too. And he bowed up and he was ready to go. And I said, let's do this. Now, what he didn't know is I wrestled for 15 years and I coached for 5. I came in and I locked up, I pushed him, and then I pulled and I hipped it in. Now, anybody of you who've ever wrestled before, you know when you hip it in, pilot slice. I sent that man flying. There he goes over top. He lands and I land on top. And he bit me. So when he bit me, I picked him up. I got behind him. I wrapped him up. Suplex, 5 points. I picked him back up, wrapped him up. Suplex, 5 points. From there, I got in front of him. I brought his arm in front. I locked it up. Gator roll, 2 points. Gator roll, 2 points. I did at least 3 times. I'm in my 40s. He's in his 20s, early 20s. At this point, he still had a little bit of fight in him. I can't afford to gas out because this is life and death. So I got on top, sunk in the legs, pancaked him. I put my arm around him and I put him to sleep at least 3 times because I was gonna make sure that the tables were never going to turn. Now I'm out here in the middle of the road. I definitely needed to gas him. This is a man who attempted to murder an entire building. I could have taken this guy's life. Held on a little bit longer, he doesn't wake up again. But it wasn't my place to do that. I already knew he was gonna go to jail. I already knew what the outcome was. By the 3rd time, he had no more fight in him. But I still needed to make sure he was gassed. I keep my arm around him, take his other arm, and I put it behind his back, and I crank it. So I made him drag me back to the building. I need to put the fear of God in this man. 1, so he doesn't think that he can win this fight. He knows it's over. 2, he'll think twice before he ever tries to do anything like this again. It's not my place to take his life. Not at the moment. I had control of the situation. That's for the Justice Department. That's for the law to decide what they're gonna do with him. But he will think twice before he does anything like this again. He needed to fear me and know that I do whatever it takes to protect myself, protect my family, protect my neighbors, protect my community. So I started saying things that should not be repeated, but he needed to know that there are monsters that could defeat him. This is a man who tried to kill. This is a man who had no remorse in how people die. I had to restrain myself and let law do what law does. When you're a wrestler, you don't have to bully. You do bully the bullies. That's who I am. And I will stand up to anybody who has any ill will towards my family, my neighbors, my countrymen. I made him drag me all the way back and drag me all the way back to my apartment. He is completely gassed. He is a monster, but he needs to know that I'm a bigger monster, and I will put the fear of God in him so that he never does this again. But if there's monsters out there, I'm the monster you want on your side.
You fired him.
It's him?
Yep, call police.
Yeah, I did. Run away.
I told him to the police.
Now I had to mute it out because again, I said some really harsh, some really bad things. That man feared for his life. He had a little bit of fight left in him, so watch his arm, and I'll magnify it. Put him asleep again. There it goes. And that's pretty much the end of the clip there. Now from that point when I put him to sleep, I put him on his belly. I kept out all my positions the way it was, but I was already starting to get tired. So I laid on top of him and I kept everything in leverage. When he came back to, I still had the upper hand. Fire department got there first. They quickly told him, you're not gonna get any help from us. They already knew what time it was. At that point, there wasn't much of a fire to put out. Then the police came over, and then when they did, they parked at the end. He looked at me and he goes, all right, I got it from here. The guy didn't resist, didn't do anything. He was so gassed out. I stood up and he just laid there. And the police officers didn't even say anything to him. Put the handcuffs on him, picked him up and dragged him away. I took everything in and just realized I lived out my dream. That was awesome. Exactly who I want to be, I got to be. Not that I want to be a hero, but I love putting bad people in their place. I love putting bullies in their place. And I know there's a lot of you out there who love that too. And I got to do it. My phone didn't stop ringing. I had every single news station. Can we go out there now? I'm going to link below the news channel episode that came out. All of these are the news channels. So here's the door, maybe 10 seconds. These are metal doors. Now what you don't see is that the door warped and a fire came underneath. She thought she was going to have to jump out with the babies and land on her back. So she was like, I was prepared to jump out because there was no other way out of this building. She was like, I was prepared to jump out because there was no other way out of this building. She was prepared to jump out, hold the babies on her and land on her back. And that's what was going through her mind. Because a little bit longer, that couch and those curtains catch fire, that whole building is on fire. It's a dangerous building. And I know to this day, it continues like that. What does the city or the county do about it? Zero. But they want to tell me what I can and cannot do on my property. I built this treehouse. I called, I asked, what are the requirements? It's a treehouse, so I guess as long as it meets certain setbacks, you're fine. So I built a treehouse. Now they want to say it's an accessory dwelling. Nobody's living in it. It's literally a treehouse. It's literally a play set. That's where I play. But it is what it is. It's not an accessory dwelling. It's nothing other than that's where I play. I do my playing in there. It's my treehouse. State code says I can do the things that I want to do. My property. County says no. Meanwhile, county and the city allows this to happen. Do they ever come to me and say anything? Not that I want anything from them. I don't want to be called a hero. I'll do this 1,000 times over because that's who I am. You know what I want? I want to live free on my land. Remember, I'm on an acre. So it's not like I'm in a building. I'm not in a condo. I'm not in a townhouse where any little thing that I do could jeopardize the lives of others. I'm making this video because the tyrants at Miami-Dade County, and I'm talking about these are the chief officials, they need to know that they're messing with the wrong person because this video can go viral and I need your help to make it go viral so that they know that everybody's going to know what they're doing. I'm going to put a link up somewhere down below and up here, whatever these cards are, of their lies. I'll show you the emails, I'll show you what state code says, and I'll show you where they're lying. They make it up as they go, and I can show proof of it. This is my property. Nobody's going to tell me what to do with my property. So what I love about Florida, Florida believes in private property. Again, I don't live in a condo building. And I did all of this. I don't live in an HOA, so I can just be left alone and live my American dream the way that I want to live. I am an artist and I love to create. Please let them know they're messing with the wrong guy. I'll leave it there and see you tomorrow.